you should know this week. If you'll be here for the summer, stop by for the meeting after the service today. Marcia Smith will be leading that. And let's talk about what you want to do over the quieter months. And if Steve Leapley is lurking around somewhere, I need Mr. Leapley for a moment.
Okay, I have good news. With the assistance of our attorneys, Bill Reynolds, Marcia Smith, John Spitzer, we have come to an agreement with IVMS. This agreement protects our property rights, and I will be giving out an email blast Monday or Tuesday. We're also going to get an apology letter sent out from IVMS because they did send one out that made us look a little bad. So they're going to, but this basically takes care of it. We're all set. And I also came up with an alternate plan for the afternoons when we're trapped in here. And what's going to occur, and they've agreed to it, is that basically at our mailbox, they're going to go down to one lane. So if you're ever coming here, you know, like choir or something, park in the northeast parking lot. You'll be able to exit. You won't be able to get in, but you'll be able to exit at least. It's a half settlement. I'll go into more, you know, with the email and such, but it's good news. The lawyers approved it. Everything's set.
I'm going to try to get this right. Welcome. Welcome to the UCOV, affectionately known as UCOV, Unitarian. You know, I practiced this over and over. Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice. Yay. My name is Mary Ann Kerner, and I'm the worship associate for this morning's service. Sharon Wiley writes, "It's okay to be tired of change. It's okay to be tired of everything different. Okay to feel weary of resiliency and wholeness and learning and growth. And it's okay to yearn simply to rest. It's okay to be grouchy, it's good to know, and unsatisfied, and all the ordinary ways of being that we are. Let this morning be a reminder that you are loved. Let our time together soothe what is restless in you. May you be comforted in knowing that whatever you are feeling, today and other days, you are not alone. You are never alone." We're so glad you're here. If anyone is here for the first time and feels comfortable doing so, please raise your hand and someone will bring you a mic and you can introduce yourself. Anyone here? Well, we're all the diehards here. If anyone is leaving this week, please feel free to raise a hand so we can say hasta la vista until we meet again.
Yes, good morning. My name is Hunter, and this is Alexandra, and we're heading, I don't want to say we're heading home, because it feels like this is home to us, but we're heading back to Pittsburgh for the summer. So, and we will miss you dearly.
I'm Donna Schaefer, and I'm going to be heading to the center of Maine for the summer, and I'll be back sometime in September. I will miss you all.
Hi, I'm Kendra Munson. I'm heading back to Cape Cod for the summer, and I'll be back in the fall, and I will really miss this congregation and the people I'm just beginning to get to know, because there's so many people that I still don't know, and next year I'm going to be in the I decided I'm going to be in the circles, the dining circles, so I can get to know more people. I've been sort of isolated, and that's wrong. So I'm going to be back, and love you all.
I'm Henry Bright. We are heading for northwest Montana on Tuesday. Little town called Lakeside, which is on Flathead Lake, the largest natural freshwater body west of the Mississippi, and it's beautiful country.
Safe travels.
Well, all of you travel safe. We are now entering a sacred space, so please silence all electronics that you may have here today. We light this chalice, symbol of our living faith, in honor of the strength that lives within all of us. In times of trial, when the winds howl and the way is unclear, may this small flame remind us we bend, but we do not break.
Good morning, everyone. We're so glad you're here today. Come on in and kick the dust off your sandals. Shake off the week like a dirty coat. Find your seat in this house of care. Today we gather not because life is easy, but because we know it isn't. We've all had our share. We've weathered storms and had skinned knees, hearts that got knocked around a little bit. But here's the thing, we're still standing. Maybe a little dented, maybe a little patched in places, but stronger for the wear. This morning, let's make room for stories of grit and grace, stories of falling down and getting back up, and for the sacred art of carrying on. Let's remember that resilience doesn't have to roar. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision to keep showing up and breathing. So take a breath and settle in, and let us begin. Come, let us worship here together. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and join in our first hymn, number 360, Here We Have Gathered. This is the time in our service when we do our offering, and every week we do it with a joke because giving shouldn't hurt. A little girl who had a mother who was a Baptist and a father who was a Unitarian Universalist. Each week she was given $5 whole for the collection plate, but she had to decide which church to go to, her mother's or her father's. One Saturday afternoon, while she was trying to think of which one she'd go to this week, she asked her mother, "Mom, where did people come from?" Her mother said, "God made Adam and Eve, and they had children, and that's how all of mankind was made. I'm telling you the truth, and you should go to church with me and hear more." A couple of hours later, she went and found her dad out in the garage and asked him the same question. Her father said, "Well, people evolve slowly. Many, many, many years ago, there were monkeys, which the human race evolved from. You should come to my church and learn about science and evolution and hear the truth." The confused little girl returned to her mother at bedtime and said, "Mommy, how is it possible that you told me we were created just the way we were by God, and Daddy said we came from monkeys? Which church is telling the truth? Which one should get my money?" Her mother said, "Well, dear, it's very simple. I told you about my side of the family. And your father told you about his. So that we might keep buying our bananas for all of us on Dad's side, the morning offering will now be given and gratefully received." Yeah, go ahead. As soon as I... Thank you all so very much, not just for whatever you've given today, but for everything you do for your community. It's as a community of human hands and hearts that we come together here to bear witness and minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joy. So if you have a joy or a sorrow to share, please raise a hand and either Tom or Jean will bring you a microphone. And I think we've got one here first.
I was honored to be asked by Nancy Minaldi Scanlon to ask you to keep Michael in your thoughts and prayers. He is back in the hospital. It's up and down, up and down. They still do not know the cause, but she very much would love to have you think of him and pray for him.
I want to share that last week, I live now in Village on the Isle, which is a retirement community. One of the helpful things is that they seat you with other people and sometimes with friends. So I had the experience of sitting with a woman I've met casually, and she made my blue-flowered Easter bonnet, highly creative. I've sat with her before, and I kind of swallowed hard when she was brought to the table. She's quite loquacious. But it was an interesting discussion after we got through things because it reinforced, and I shared this with Reverend Amy, that I am a Unitarian. she had spoken. I know she was raised a Catholic. She's still very devout. And she's, I think, quite, as she presents herself, totally confident in her faith. After we had chatted about things, I said, well, I'd like to share with you that I attend the Unitarian Universalist Church. And she said, oh? And I said, yes. And she said, well, when Reverend Amy has been here, I've attended, and she does never say the word God or Jesus. And I said, well, there's that aspect to it, but it is not the most important thing about UCOV. The most important thing is that we welcome everybody, and they do, in fact, bring whatever their faith, whoever their God is, into that experience we share. And then I felt a chalice lighten me, and I said, I want to share with you that one of the aspects of inviting everyone is that each person in their own way brings their truth. And she said, how can that be? There is one God, and there is one truth. Swallow. Dolores, I'm hearing you. I respect that because I think that's at the core of your faith and sustains you. I have a sense that there are many truths, mine included, and that my truth changes frequently based on my experience every day. She said, no, there's one truth. How can it change? I said, well, that's something that I'm living, and I see that you live it too. And at the end, she stood up and she said, that was not an argument, that was a discussion.
Okay, hi, I'm Barbara Griffin, and I haven't been here for several weeks. And I'm glad to be here today because I think Amy's sermon is going to be right on the spot for me. Dave and I have been through a very difficult time. We made the decision to move from independent living at Village on the Isle into assisted living so I could have more help taking care of him. Well, he ended up in the hospital and now is an inpatient in the rehab facility at Vody. And I did the move on my own with wonderful help from friends and neighbors at Village on the Isle that I couldn't have managed without them. So I am in assisted living now, waiting for Dave to get strong enough to get back and join me. It's been a very harrowing time for us, but I'm hoping that we will bounce back. Amy, I'm assuming that's your topic today, and get back to normal. I tell you, no other place than Village on the Isle could accommodate what we are going through. Independent living, assisted living, nursing care, it's all right there in one place, and it's just amazing to be there. Thank you.
Hi, I'm going to welcome this sermon today too, because with everything happening in the world and personally, it's been a difficult time. But I have good news, a joy. My grandnephew, who's turning 16 June 2nd, just won a $5,000 scholarship to a very intense 5-week music camp. And he plays trombone, piano, and sings. And I'm really looking forward to his development there. And his parents, the greatest thought is no child is allowed to bring a cell phone for 5 weeks. They're thrilled.
This is kind of political in a way, but I really was very impressed with our new Pope. I was on Substack, which is a news feed. It's a fairly liberal news feed the other day. And he lambasted Vance for his stances on almost everything. And because Vance is a Catholic, and he says he's Catholic, and he's doing all of this for for his Catholic faith and everything. And Pope Paul just put him in his place beautifully. I was really thrilled. So sorry, Leo, sorry, wrong. This is Paul. But I was so proud of him, and he said it in English, so I could understand it. So I was doubly happy. Sorry about the politicalness of that, but I was really very, very happy. So.
May the love of this community hold all who need love and concern, and may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we never look away when we are needed. May those who are grieving be comforted, and those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant.
Blessing for the brokenhearted. Let us agree for now that we will not say that breaking makes us stronger. Let us promise we will not tell ourselves time will heal the wound, not because this is false, but because we cannot know what lies ahead. Let us sit together in the sorrow. Let us stand together in the silence. Let us stay together in the struggle. Let us remember that our hearts are made for this, to shatter, to hold grief, to keep beating through it all. And this from the Navajo night chant. With beauty before me I walk. With beauty behind me I walk. With beauty above me I walk. With beauty below me I walk. It is finished in beauty. It is finished in beauty. Holding these words in mind, please join in 1 minute of silent thought, meditation, or prayer. Roots beneath the storm. Let us settle into stillness. Let your body be soft. Let your breath be gentle. Imagine a great tree, its branches wide, its trunk weathered, its roots deep. This tree has known storms. The wind has howled, the lightning has struck, yet still it stands, still it grows. We too have roots, roots of memory, of courage, of love. In times of shaking, may we remember them. In times of sorrow, may we draw strength from them. Let us breathe in courage and let us breathe out fear. Let us breathe in peace. Let us breathe out tension. May we bend but not break. May we fall but rise again. And may we walk on together, resilient and whole. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 348, Guide My Feet.
Where I grew up, there used to be a phrase that every kid heard, maybe from a coach, maybe from a parent, and that phrase was, walk it off. You fell down, walk it off. You lost the football game, walk it off. Your right arm was eaten by a leopard, walk it off. Here in the U.S., we are supposed to have some kind of frontier spirit, a sense of unconquerable ability. Stephen King called it daring do. Admitting that we were hurt too badly to go on was somehow, when I was growing up at least, felt to be letting the team down. It was downright un-American. We were supposed to be brave and strong and resilient. If you dropped us off the Sears Tower, we were supposed to bounce. And resilience is one of those words that has become both deeply meaningful and absolutely dangerously overused. It is on t-shirts and wellness blogs. It's in corporate workshops and school curriculums. Be resilient, we get told. And yet so often we're not told how in any meaningful way beyond some fancy words that amount to just walk it off. Or worse, we're told that if we struggle to go on with life after a physical, mental, or moral wounding, It is a failure of resilience rather than an honest response to hardship. But our living faith asks us not to settle for these shallow definitions. Our tradition calls for us to dig deeper, to ask not just what resilience is, but where it comes from, who gets to practice it, and how do we as individuals and a community nurture it in ourselves and in each other? You know the simple definitions. At its simplest, resilience is the capacity to recover from difficulty, to bend without breaking, to fall and get back up. Psychologists describe it as the ability to adapt well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, or stress. But I think all of us know pretty intuitively, resilience is not just about bouncing back. There's more to it. It's about transforming through struggle. It's the strength to endure and the courage to grow. In the natural world, we see this all the time. Trees that survive storms grow deeper roots. Forests regenerate after fires. Some seeds can only sprout when they've been exposed to heat or scarified by passing through the gut of a bird. I was reading on the Save the Redwoods League pages. They say giant sequoia cones are I'm going to mispronounce this, are ceratinous, which means that fire on the forest floor causes them to dry out and open up and release their seeds. This adaptation ensures that the tree times the release of most of its seeds to coincide with fire, which creates ideal conditions for regeneration success. Fire burns off woody debris and exposes the soil, creates an ash layer that returns nutrients to the soil, and increases sunlight by killing some of the competing pines and firs. You'll note that nature's resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It's about being in right relationship with change, with loss, and with impermanence. It's about using what's happening to it. And it is the same with us. To be resilient is not to deny the suffering. It's to face it with honesty and to trust that it does not have the final word. One of the absolutely most damaging ideas in our culture is that resilience is some kind of purely personal trait. It's something you either have or you don't. For anybody that ever saw True Grit, the idea that you either had the grit or you didn't. The idea that resilience is proven in isolation is just wrong. When you think of the lone hero, the self-made success story, the bootstrap metaphor that has reappeared so often it's become gospel in some circles, they're all a myth and a kind of a dangerous one. Because real resilience is relational. We are resilient together, or we are not resilient at all. None of us gets through this life alone. We need community and we need connection. We need spaces like this one where we can be vulnerable, where we can scream and cry and rage and rest and still be held in love. You get to come here and screw up. You get to come in here and say, guess what I did this week and it wasn't good. And we'll still love you the next day. Community is important because nothing can bounce if it has nothing to bounce off of. This is one of the central gifts of a religious community. We come here not to show strength, but to cultivate it together. To remember that we are never the only one struggling and never the only one healing. In the words of an African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The entire human story is filled with examples of resilience, some quiet and some thunderous. One of the most powerful stories in our own tradition is that of the Universalist faith in the face of institutional collapse. At various points in history, Universalism was dismissed as naive, even heretical. It proclaimed against the dominant currents of fear and control that all people are worthy of love, that no soul is damned forever, and that there was no hell other than the ones we create for each other. This was radical. This was heretical. This radical love, this defiant hope was often met with scorn, with anger. In one case, a Universalist minister was kidnapped by 2 other ministers in town. And they held him for 3 days while they tried to argue about the Trinity. At the end, he had converted both of them. And that is a true story. But Universalism didn't quit. It didn't die. It adapted. It endured. It became resilient. It merged with Unitarianism to form something stronger. That's in our spiritual DNA. We are heirs to that faith, a faith that says, yeah, life is brutal, but it's also beautiful. Yeah, we're going to fall. We're going to fall hard sometimes, but we're not forsaken. Yeah, we're going to grieve, but we will not be alone in our grief. We are the tree made fresh again by the flames. We are the bouncing ball. So how do we actually practice this resilience? What does it look like in real life? First, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Resilience starts with honesty. Denial is brittle. Truth is supple. We have to be able to admit we are hurt, to name what hurts, what's broken, what's unfair. Don't sugarcoat. Don't spiritually bypass it. Only then can we start to heal and grow. We have to stop trying to walk it off. Whoever told you that suffering was noble was a liar. This is why lament is sacred. This is why our services include both joys and sorrows. When we speak the truth of our experience, we give others permission to do the same. It's okay to be hurt and say you are in pain and you need a big hug. Or maybe you just need to yell, or maybe you just need to tell someone. It's okay. Number 2, stay connected. I always think of the old Simon and Garfunkel song, I am a rock, I am an island. No, you're not. Resilience is a community project. You are not a rock. Reach out, lean in, offer help, ask for help. One of the greatest lies of suffering is that we become isolated by it. You don't have any bootstraps. Stop trying to pull on them. Ask for help. When we share our pain, when we show up for one another, we could become stronger. Not in spite of our vulnerability, but because of it. It makes you human. 3, remember your values. When life shakes us, we need anchors. For Unitarian Universalists, our principles and our values are some of those anchors. We are one web with love at the center and justice in our bones, and we live in hope. Our values remind us not just of who we are, but who we aspire to be. Even and especially when it's hard. There will be hope because your lives create hope. There will be hope because you live in such a way as to sustain hope. There will be a way forward because you say that you will not live in a world of dead ends and broken dreams. You will bounce and you will land in a web of faith. 4, find meaning. Suffering isn't good, but it can shape us. Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote that the last of the human freedoms is the ability to choose our attitude in any given circumstance, to find meaning in suffering which you cannot avoid. This doesn't mean romanticizing pain. We hope you don't ever have any. But when you do, it means believing that even in the midst of hardship, there is still beauty. Everything is not ruined. There is still purpose. There is still love. Finding meaning in suffering doesn't require monumental trauma. It can arise from everyday difficulties, painful breakups that teach us about boundaries and self-worth, career setbacks that redirect us toward more fulfilling paths, a hobby you decide you suddenly hate because it's become miserable, that sends you into new interests with new friends. The key lies in framing our experiences in a way that integrate the pain rather than rejecting it. It's not quick and it's not easy, but it is transformative. Suffering strips away illusion. It forces confrontation with what matters most. And when people face serious adversity, they frequently reevaluate their priorities and relationships. It's why you hear that old thing about there's no atheist in foxholes. When the chips are down, one, you'll try anything, and two, you want to know what to do with this. What's real? What's true? Suffering can become a catalyst for authenticity. Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." That why, whether it's love, faith, art, service to others, gives pain a context and a direction. The pain doesn't stop your fall, but it teaches you to control the direction of your bounce. 5 is rest. Resilience is not the same as endurance. Sometimes the most courageous thing we can do is rest. As Teresa Hersey of the NAP ministry says, rest is resistance. In a culture that glorifies productivity and busyness, taking the time to pause, to grieve, to breathe, this is a radical act. Even the land needs fallow time, so do we. Sometimes you just need to take a breath. You don't need to get back on the horse this minute. We cannot talk about resilience without acknowledging the brokenness of our world and the ways in which resilience is often required of some far, far more than others. People of color, LGBTQ people, immigrants, disabled people, others on the margins, you hear often how resilient they are, while they continue to be subjected to systems of oppression that make survival an act of daily courage. Resilience is not a substitute for justice. It's not a reason to accept the status quo. If anything, resilience should empower us to resist, to speak the truth, to demand change, and to imagine a world where no one is forced to be strong all the time just to live. If I never see another story about that brave little kid in his wheelchair out selling lemonade to buy a new one, I will be a happy person. People shouldn't need to be resilient just to be human. Our work as a faith community is important. We're here for one another, here to support one another, to show compassion, to provide community, to witness one another in our pain. And we're also here to wreck the systems that make some people be resilient day in and day out. It's what it means to live our faith. The Reverend Theodore Parker, who was a Unitarian minister, once said, "I don't pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one, but I am sure it bends toward justice. It's our job to lean on it a little bit. Martin Luther King Jr. echoed the line more famously, and many others have since, but bending the arc toward justice, toward healing, toward love, that isn't passive. It takes effort. It takes a resilient heart to watch that arc jerk back and forth and keep leaning on it. In the words of poet Wendell Berry, be joyful, though you have considered all the facts. We absolutely refuse to just walk it off. We refuse to pretend that nothing hurts, but we also refuse to be destroyed by our pain, unable to see the possible in the middle of the agonizing, not because we are naive, but because we are faithful, not because we are unscarred, but because we are unbroken, because we bounce. Amen. We extinguish our chalice with the hope that we may be a people of resilient hope. May we cultivate communities where no one walks alone. May we tell the truth, seek justice, rest when we must, and rise when we can. And may we remember always that love is stronger than fear, and that we are held in a great web of life together. Let us go forward not as heroes who never fall, but as human beings who rise and fall and rise again and again, with grace and with courage and with each other. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn today, number 106, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. Go in peace, hold fast to what is good. Return to this place when you need to be reminded you are not alone, you are loved, and you are resilient beyond measure. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so.